Are your hydrangeas looking poorly?
Yes!
Did your hydrangeas not flower this year?
No!
And if it did flower, was it the colour that you were expecting?
No!
Well, despite being one of the temperate garden's most popular hardy shrub, it's also one of the most difficult to get right because there are so many mistakes that can be made. But don't worry, because I've got 7 reasons why you're growing your hydrangea wrong. I'm going to explain what they are and what you can do about it. So it's all going to be okay. I'm going to start with why your hydrangea hasn't flowered this year. And it's going to be because of pruning. And before I even start, not all hydrangeas can be looked after the same, especially when it comes to pruning. So if you've pruned it at the wrong time of year, you will be removing all of the wood that will have your next season's blooms. I will explain in a bit more detail. You have 2 groups of hydrangeas, those that flower on the new season's wood and those that flower on the old season's wood. With those that flower on the new season's wood, like your arborescens, like your paniculata, you can prune these in the spring, you'll get a flush of new growth. On that growth, you get your flowers. It's very easy. Now, with your very popular macro fillers, the large leaved hydrangea, like your Mopheads and also your Lacecaps, these flower on the previous year's wood. So last year's wood needs to be kept in place because on that growth you'll get the spring blooms. So if you cut these any time other than immediately after flowering, you're going to be removing the wood that displays the flowers. And this is the biggest problem when it comes to growing these hydrangeas. It's the cutting of the old wood which destroys your flowering displays. And that is what you did wrong. To mitigate that means to improve that situation, stop pruning your flipping hydrangeas and it'll all be fine.
Hooray!
The second problem with your hydrangeas is these plants having absolutely horrible, shocking looking leaves that can create stunted growth and poor flowering. And it's because you've planted your hydrangeas in full sun. Now, in their native habitat of China, Japan, Korea, all that lovely area of Asia, these are woodland plants. So naturally, they have evolved to develop and grow under the canopy of higher up plants. So they are not used to dealing with direct sun during the heat of the day. So when you're looking for a place to plant your hydrangeas, make sure that the foliage is protected at the hottest part of the day by either dappled shade or semi-shade. And then that will fix that problem. If you planted it in full sun and you're seeing this awful sun scorch, it may well recover, but you may well have the dead patches of cells on the leaves and they won't go until you get a new set of leaves on it. Then all you can do now is wait until the autumn before lifting it and then moving it somewhere where it's going to be protected for the hot of the day. Now, they're quite happy with your early morning light, they're quite happy with your late evening, early evening, possibly late afternoon light. So long as you can provide that and the protection at the hottest part of the day, you'll be absolutely fine. Problem number 3 is to do with watering your plant. Typically these don't get enough water. They're a woodland plant, as we mentioned before, and they're used to being in conditions that are reliably moist throughout the year, but also fairly well drained. Because they're being planted with taller, more established plants, their root systems take out a lot of the moisture. So, like I say, reliably moist. but well drained. And if you can provide that in your garden, you'll be absolutely fine. But this is what tends to happen. We plant them in the borders so they are competing with the other plants for water in order to protect them from scorching, which you would be right to do. You plant them under a tree, but then that tree is also going to be out competing your hydrangea for water. And in the UK, we tend to suffer from extended periods of drought where it just doesn't rain. So if it's not raining and you're not watering and the available water is being taken out by plants that can outcompete hydrangea, your hydrangea is going to struggle. It's going to become stunted. Again, you're going to get poor blooms, and quite often all of the foliage is going to wilt and look shocking. Back in my comfy chair. So this means that you have to take responsibility for the watering of your hydrangeas. Don't be just chucking a little bit of water on the leaves thinking you're being like the rain and expecting that to do the job, because it's not going to happen. These plants actually do have quite a high water requirement. When you do water them, you need to water them regularly and deeply. You don't want to water them every day. Give a little bit of water, do it the next day. That's not very helpful. These plants have a notable fibrous root system near the soil surface, and that also means that they are prone to heat stress and very easily water stress because the roots are so high up in the soil. So you need to water responsibly, so you need to give a decent amount of water each time, allow that water to sink down, and hopefully get the plant to also put its roots further down to protect it better. But if you don't do it, they will dry up, they can wilt, the leaf angles will change, and your flower, even the petals on your flowers, will dry up and flop. It's all very disappointing, and all we had to do was keep an eye on it and put a bit of extra water on it. Do that, that's that problem fixed. We touched on wrong coloration of your blooms, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. But before I do so, if there are any great issues that you've come across when it comes to growing hydrangeas and I don't mention about them in this video, you're more than welcome to put those in the comments. We would genuinely love to hear from you and get that information out there. So back to the colours of your hydrangea. Most people, most right-minded people, like the blue ones. You go to your shop, see a lovely blue one, take it home, plant it up, it'll be great. Next year it's gone pink. What the flip has gone wrong there? Well, there are a number of species within the hydrangea genus that are very sensitive to the pH of your soil. Your pH is to do with, is it alkaline, is it neutral, is it acidic? Now, those species and cultivars that are blue, they require a slightly acidic soil in order to keep that blue colour. Can I just say, always buy hydrangeas when they are in flower, so that you at least buying the right plant, because the amount of times you buy these online and they send you whatever they want but with the right label on, you've got no idea and you're just going to struggle trying to get it blue. Was it even a blue one in the first place? You have no idea. I've got no idea. Just don't do it. Buy it with the right colour first. That's the first tip. Secondly, when you get it home, plant it in an ericaceous compost, because that is formulated to be acidic. So dig out some soil, backfill with your compost, plant your hydrangea in that compost, and you know straight off the go the pH is absolutely fine. Now, if you've got a pink hydrangea that should have been blue and it's in your garden and you don't know what to do, I wasn't trying to rhyme that, then there are things that you can put in place to manage that situation. You can use products like sequestrine, which you can either mix with water and pour on, or put a little bit on the surface, rake that in, water it. That will be a good way to address it. You can also fertilize your hydrangeas with a liquid soluble food such as miracid, or whatever Miracle Grows currently calling its slightly acidic fertilizer. Or you can simply buy yourself some hydrangea colorant to turn pink hydrangeas blue. It's funny how they only say you want to turn the pink ones to blue, not the blue ones to pink. I'll tell you why, because pink is an awful colour. But before we do that, I am contractually obliged to do this. Now, I don't know why anyone in their right mind would do this, but you can technically change blue hydrangeas back to pink hydrangeas, and you can do this by mixing up a dose of Epsom salts and then pouring it on the ground around the root systems, and over time that colour will change. I don't know what the dose is, because I really don't care what the dose is, because I will never ever do it. You might want to do it, I don't know why, because pink is a god awful colour, but if you do, that's up to you. Pink. Problem number 5 is either not feeding your hydrangeas enough or not feeding them correctly. And we've mentioned about the pH and the specific foods for that, but I'm going to add a few more layers of feeding hydrangeas on top. The leaves of your hydrangea should naturally be a very dark green. If you look at people's hydrangeas in their gardens, they're normally quite a light green, and that is showing you there is a problem with nutrition. If it doesn't have enough nutrition, the chlorophyll pigments can't be produced, it can't photosynthesize, it can't produce the sugars, which is the energy that is used to power the blooms and more growth. So by not feeding it enough, you will get stunted plants and poor flowering. So it's in your best interest to feed these plants correctly, and this is what you want to do. If your leaves are a light green in colour, you'll need to feed your hydrangeas with a high nitrogen food such as Miracle Grow. I don't get paid for promoting that. Or if you're in England, Phostrogen. You feed that once a week for the next few weeks until the colour goes back to green, and then we're going to change that fertiliser to a low nitrogen fertiliser for this very reason. If you constantly and only feed your hydrangeas with a high nitrogen food, then your plant will direct its energy into producing loads of luscious green leaves and not so much into producing the flowers. So once your leaves are green, stop applying your high nitrogen food and instead apply a low nitrogen, high potash food instead, because that will help promote your blooms for the following season. I would consider using products such as Temperate. It's not just for tomatoes, and also consider using Maxi Crop, which is a seaweed based fertilizer. That's very good because it has an absolute ton of micronutrients. And come August, just stop feeding altogether. There's no point. All you're going to do is get the plant to constantly produce new luscious growth, which come the first frost will all be hit, damaged, wasted the plant's energy and resources, and also increased the risk of fungal and bacterial infection getting into this damaged wood. Don't do that. Mistake number 6, and not too many people do it, but some of you absolutely do, and that's planting your root ball deeper than the soil level of the pot. So you've got the soil level of your garden, the soil level of your pot. That level should be the same when you plant it. If you plant a hole that's too deep and then you sink your root ball into it and then cover it with an inch or two of additional soil, your plant is not going to like that, and this is what it tends to do. Your hydrangea will sulk. Causing stunted growth. It can cause yellowing leaves despite you feeding it. It can increase the risk of fungal root rots over the winter period, and of course reduces the incidence of blooms, which is the one flipping thing that you're trying to get out of this plant. So I know not many people do it. Some of you do. You can stop that right now. We're at problem number 7. This is the last problem that I'm going to be talking to you about, and it's to do with winter protection, specifically for those macro filler hydrangeas, which are, as everyone knows, the most popular selling hydrangeas of all the hydrangeas that you can get. Now, the problem with these plants is that they are not quite fairly hardy, and also their buds come in really early and are prone to damage through late frost. So if you know frosts are coming, if you see the buds are coming out, get hold of yourself some frost protection which you can lay over. Some fleece, horticultural fleece, will be absolutely fantastic, a couple of layers. If you don't do it, these leaves will be frost damaged and they're going to be holding on to those for the rest of the year, look awful until new ones come through and hopefully mask it. So it's a very important problem. Also, if it's a plant that is of flowering size, don't cut off the old flower heads. Leave those flower heads when they're seed heads. Leave those on because they also give a certain amount of frost protection for your plants. And that's it. Those are the 7 common reasons why your hydrangea is performing poorly. And like I say, these are all really common problems that I see. But if you've got any others that I haven't mentioned and you want to put that information out there, like I said before, put that in the comments. We would genuinely love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Before I go, consider watching this video. I really enjoyed that. That has been quite popular. Hopefully you'll like it too.